Sup, guys? It's Toad back with you. Better Off Dead Wednesday, June 25th. I'm wearing my Paul Skeens jersey today, baby, because it is Skeens Day. He is one of my favorite pitchers, obviously. Obviously, a role model as well. I mean, any guy that can throw 100 miles an hour and is dating a really hot gymnast or whatever the hell she is and a swimsuit model. Go Skeens. I will actually have a play in the Pirates game today, so I'm wearing it for that reason as well. Yesterday on the show, 3-1. I wish it went 4-0, man. I mean, obviously, we hit on Toronto. Toronto Blue Jays, they started out with a nice lead, almost let the lead slip, but then they were able to pad it a little bit near the end, so we got the win on that. Cincinnati was the only loss, which was kind of unfortunate because the under, I did also like the under in the first 5 innings in that game, and the under hit in the first 5 innings, just that Burns, in his Major League debut, he wound up giving up a few runs. So the Yankees had the lead after 5, and then, of course, the Reds actually won full game, which I'm still happy about because I don't like the Yankees, but the fact that the Reds hit on the full game, and I explicitly took their bullpen out of the equation because I didn't want to deal with them, kind of angers me. So that was an unfortunate one because full game on the side would have hit for me, and first 5 under, if I had gone with the under in the first 5, which I almost did, would have hit, but whatever. Milwaukee was a win there. They won and covered the run line pretty easily with an easy win in a good spot over the Pittsburgh Pirates. And the St. Louis Cardinals hit as well. McGreevy didn't even pitch that well. I mean, part of my handicap was that I thought McGreevy would pitch well. He didn't, but he still outpitched Taillon, who was terrible in the game yesterday. So we hit on that one. I'm going to have another play today, actually, on that series as well. The Cubs, St. Louis. Nate, what's up, man? You can call me Mussolini, man. I mean, everybody calls me a fascist, so it's not too far off, right? David, what's up, man? All right, not that I want to get this channel nuked or anything. Let's get into today, I guess. I will clarify, as I usually do, that I'm not actually betting these things right now, as I'm trying to conserve money for a bit due to being canceled. But maybe I should just go pro, man, because things have been decent for me recently. Baseball has been bouncing back. WNBA has been okay. Tracking everything that I've been doing so far, I'm like still right around even on the year, which is not that bad considering that March was absolutely abysmal. And I think I had a winning month in every other month, so I can't believe how bad March was. Let's get into today. I'll briefly hit the WNBA here, although I don't want anything to do with the WNBA today. We have 2 games that are both somewhat mismatches, although I know some of the mismatches yesterday didn't even wind up being so, although I gave out a lean on the Indiana Fever yesterday, and they actually won outright, even though Caitlin Clark, I believe, hit 0 field goals in the game, and they still won the game outright, which is pretty crazy to think about. Clark had a terrible game, and they still won. New York Liberty are at the Golden State Valkyries. The Liberty, still possibly the best team in the league, even though they've lost 3 of their last 4 games. A couple of the games were kind of outliers, really, to be honest, and they faced a couple of tough teams in there, too. They're stepping down in class to face Golden State here. Golden State not very good, so I do pretty much expect the Liberty to probably take care of business here. Will they cover a big number on the road is kind of a different story. Golden State has actually been hot, and they've actually won 5 of their last 6, but probably the best win they had in there was the home game against Seattle. They're coming off a win over Connecticut, which is not really that impressive. A couple of decent wins in there for Golden State. They're actually not playing that bad, but probably the Liberty after playing really poorly recently. Again, I think that they should come in and actually show up for the game just because they've been playing so badly. They're an 8.5-point favorite, 83% of tickets, 97% of the cash on them. Probably slightly into the Liberty, but I will obviously not want anything to do with that. And I don't want anything to do with Connecticut and Las Vegas either. Connecticut, terrible team. Las Vegas hasn't even been playing well, and they're a 19-point favorite in this game at home, up from 16. The number does look too high. I mean, Connecticut is terrible, again, but Vegas has not been playing that well. Their defense has been struggling. I know they missed, they had a couple of games that Asia Wilson missed in the stretch here. They lost a few games, but they lost some games with her in there, too. They've lost 5 of their last 7, although they finally broke their loss streak of the win over the Fever. Pretty big win, though, when you beat Caitlin Clark, so maybe they will have a little bit of a letdown coming into this one. There's no way I would want to lay 19, but Vegas is still the better team despite all their struggles this year on defense and struggling actually rebounding as well, but Wilson should help them in that department. The fact that she is back, at least. Anyway, yeah, there's still, I don't want to do anything with either of those. Let's go to Major League Baseball. I am going to have 4 Major League Baseball plays I'm going to give out here. I'll just hit every game like I usually do. Arizona at the White Sox here. I believe Arizona has won the prior games in the series. Yeah, 10-0 and 4-1. So the White Sox have really been struggling to score in this series. Maybe they'll catch a break because they're catching Zach Gallen here, and he has not been pitching well. 5.6 ERA, 1.4 WHIP, although I keep saying I expect Gallen to turn this thing around because if you look at his career stats, he has never been this bad for Arizona. So this is kind of an outlier of a season here, and you expect that he would kind of just return to form to some extent here, but it's kind of crazy that he's been this bad this season. He's actually been a little bit better on the road with a 4.81 ERA on the road away from Chase Field. Chase Field, definitely a hitter's park. And speaking of hitter's parks, he is coming off a terrible start at Colorado. Colorado's offense sucks, but that is in Coors Field, so maybe you give him a break, give him a pass for that because he did get hurt by the home run ball. But then again, he's given up a lot of home runs recently, man. He's given up 7 home runs in 4 starts this month. 20-9 strikeout walk ratio is not very good either. Definitely too many walks. 5.76 ERA this month in 4 starts. So he's not in good form right now. And even going back to the previous 4 starts in the end of May there, he has not been in good form. So we're still waiting for him to turn it around. Maybe he will against the White Sox because the White Sox offense isn't good. So it's kind of like which trend is going to continue here, right? Like, is Gallen going to continue to struggle, or is the White Sox offense going to continue to struggle? Because it can't really be both. So one of those things has to happen. Gallen has 22 at-bats worth against the White Sox and has held to a 182 average, 742 OPS because he has walked 5 of them, and Rojas does have a home run off him. But overall, yeah, I mean, he does fairly well against the White Sox. He's being opposed by Sean Burke, who's been having a mediocre season as a rookie here. 4.5 ERA, not too bad, but 1.42 WHIP. Not very good. He's been better at home, though. 3.43 ERA at home. So both pitchers' home road splits line up in their favor in this game. Burke has a decent strikeout walk ratio this month, 16-4 in 3 starts. That's not that bad, but his ERA this month, 5.63, mostly because he got wrecked in a game at Houston, but his 2 home starts this month were good. Again, he's been better at home for the most part, so it is possible Burke turns in a decent performance here. D-backs basically have never seen him before, except Naylor is 1-for-1 off him with a double, because I believe Naylor was on Cleveland, so Naylor probably did see him at one point. However that works out, I don't know. Yeah, Burke actually did pitch last year, but I guess I think he didn't qualify with enough innings or whatever to be for that to be considered his rookie year. I don't know how it works, but whatever. Burke might have a little bit of an edge there just because the opposing offense hasn't seen him before, but Arizona is a good hitting team, so this is not a game that I would want to get involved in. Arizona's up from -135 to -149, so they are taking some of the money here with professionals seemingly thinking Gallen might kind of bounce back a little bit against a bad offense. 76% tickets, 83% of cash coming in Arizona. Obviously, Arizona, the big advantage they have is the batting. Their hitting is way better. The bullpen situation, I mean, neither team has a very good bullpen, but the White Sox are coming off essentially throwing a bullpen game out there yesterday, so White Sox kind of at a disadvantage in that regard as well, even though Arizona's bullpen is certainly not good either. And it looks like cash percentage is on the under as well. 85% of tickets on the over, 80% of the cash on the under. I don't understand it. I would not really want to risk that, as Arizona's bats could do something at any given time. Although, again, the splits for each pitcher do look pretty good in this game, though, and the matchup numbers don't look that bad. So we could potentially see an under come through in that game. Speaking of unders, I am going to recommend an under in Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, the Skeens game. Under 7. I found it at -112. I think it may be FanDuel. So if you want to get this, I would pay a little bit extra to get it under 7 if that's what you're going to do here, to play the under here, because 7 is a key number in baseball, man. You have to break a 3-3 tie, so that 7th run is required to do that. So you always want to try to get on the best side of the number 7 and 9 and 11 in baseball. So that's what we're going to do here, and I'm doing full game, even though I don't like either bullpen here. Both bullpens were somewhat rested yesterday. I mean, they didn't use... there wasn't a whole lot of bullpen usage yesterday in the game in this series, so that helps a little bit as well. It also helps that Milwaukee actually doesn't hit as well at home, even though they did score 9 runs yesterday. They have been a better hitting team on the road. So that all kind of lines up decently for an under here. I was thinking about going first 5 innings here because this is really about the starting pitching matchup, which this is an excellent starting pitching matchup. If you're like John Gruden and you like young, powerful man, then you like this pitching matchup here between 2 young power pitchers. But again, I don't really want to go under 3 in the first 5 innings. 3 is leaving you almost no room for error. So what I want to bank on is that both starting pitchers will get us fairly deep into this game. We won't have to see that much of the bullpen, so we'll risk it going full game under 7 here. Paul Skeens is pitching, of course, for Pittsburgh. I mean, I say the same thing about him every time. There's not a whole lot to say here. 1.85 ERA is ridiculous. 0.88 whip. I mean, he just doesn't get enough run support, obviously. But Pittsburgh has won 5 of his last 6 games, even so, and he's been pitching well. 1.01 ERA in 4 starts in the month of June, with some starts against some pretty good offenses. Philadelphia, Chicago Cubs, on the road against Detroit. He did walk 5 guys in that game, which is a little bit worrisome, but he still struck out 9 and only allowed 3 hits and 2 runs, so I think that's a little bit of a blip. I mean, Detroit is tough to face on the road, too. Overall, 29-9 strikeout-walk ratio this month. I still think Skeens is just in good form. He's just a very consistent pitcher, man. He's only allowed more than 2 earned runs twice all season. And up against Milwaukee, he has good numbers against them. In 37 at-bats, 15-2 strikeout-walk ratio. Really, really a high strikeout rate. He's allowed no extra base hits. 108 average, an unbelievably low 283 OPS. So Skeens has dominated Milwaukee in the few times that he's faced them before. He's up against Mlb for Milwaukee, who is a rookie, a really young guy, and he's off to a good start in the majors with a 1.64 ERA and 0.55 whip in his first 2 starts. And that's despite walking 4 guys in his first start. So he was a little bit nervous potentially in that first start against St. Louis, but he's actually dropping down in class every start here, facing weaker offenses every time. So he stepped down from St. Louis to Minnesota. Well, actually, excuse me, now he's stepping down even further to face Pittsburgh. Yeah, so he's facing a pretty weak offense here, so I expect Mlb to do pretty well here. He's gone 11 innings so far in his first 2 Major League starts, only allowing 1 hit, which is crazy, and striking out 11. And after walking 4 in his first start, he settled down nicely and only walked 1 in his second start against Minnesota. So he's been good. They're letting him go like a starter's workload. He would have gone longer in his first start, but he had a weird leg cramp issue, and he kind of landed weird off the mound. So luckily he's not hurt. He looked fine in his next start, obviously. And I expected him to do well again against a bad Pittsburgh offense, and this offense has never faced him before. And Mlb, I mean, he has power stuff, man. He throws regularly above 100 miles an hour. I believe he had 13 or 14 pitches that were at least 100 miles an hour on the radar gun in his first start, which is more 100-mile-an-hour fastballs than his entire team has thrown all season. He did in that one start. So this guy has the power, man. So I'm going to go under in this game. I mean, hopefully the starting pitchers get us pretty deep into this game. The starting pitching matchup looks quite good for it. So under, full game, 7. And we'll take the risk and deal with the bullpens for the last couple innings. Hopefully it doesn't screw us. Hopefully it doesn't go into extra innings, which would be really unlucky. And yeah, I just don't want to go under 3 in the first 5. I would not want to go under 6.5 either. I would go under 7, upwards of about minus 120 on that one. My Boston Red Sox are at Anaheim. Red Sox lost last night. I believe the Red Sox have lost both games in the series so far. Is that right? They couldn't even win with Garrett Crochet on the mound. Red Sox have lost 4 games in a row. Just brutal. by the same. They lost 2 games by the same exact margin against San Francisco and Anaheim too. And I don't know if it's going to get better for the Red Sox with Dick Fitz pitching for them today. He has not been good. 4.71 ERA, 1.29 whip, mostly because he had one really atrocious start. And guess who that start was against? Oh, yeah, it was against Anaheim. And by the way, Anaheim has 3 4-run first innings this year, and all of them are against the Red Sox. So for some reason, the Red Sox cannot stifle Anaheim in the first inning. And one of them happened the other day with Walker Buehler on the mound, who absolutely sucks as well. I don't trust Fitz at all, man. I mean, he was awful in that game against Anaheim. Only went 1 inning, allowed 5 earned runs, 3 home runs, 4 hits, a walk, no strikeouts. Can't get much worse than that, and the defense didn't do well behind him either. Is he going to bounce back from that? I mean, possibly, because he wasn't pitching that bad otherwise this season, but overall, I don't trust him. His strikeout rate's not that high. His walk rate is high. And he's facing a team that just saw him. So, yeah, he shouldn't do this badly. Again, you would think he should do a little bit better. But even if he does, I would not trust him at all. And, of course, against Anaheim, it's basically just that one start. They're 4 for 7 off him with 3 home runs, 1 walk, no strikeouts, 571 average, and 2,482 OPS. Yeah, it's a small sample size, and it should kind of regress to some sort of mean here. But still, I don't see how you could trust Fitz in this spot. Kikuchi is pitching for Anaheim, and he's been much better at home. 1.31 ERA at home. He's got a 3.01 ERA overall, which is pretty good. But his whip is high, 1.43 whip. He's definitely walking too many guys. That's kind of that's the one bad thing about Kikuchi. 2.88 ERA this month, and in the first 2 starts this month, well, actually, the first start this month, he walked 5 guys against the Boston Red Sox. So the Red Sox did just see him as well. So both pitchers have some recent familiarity with the hitters. So the hitters might have a little bit of an edge here for that reason. After that, Kikuchi settled down nicely, though, in the 3 starts following that with 24-3 strikeout walk ratio in the next 3 starts. So he's definitely in good form over the last 3 starts. So Kikuchi might actually turn in a good performance here, but against the Red Sox, he hasn't been good. In 71 career at-bats, a 296 average, 838 OPS, 23-7 strikeout walk ratio is not that bad, but some of these guys have fit him pretty well. Ref Snyder is 6 for 13 off him with a couple of walks. Rafaela is 4 for 7 with 2 home runs. So a couple of guys in this lineup hit him pretty well. Wong, even though he sucks, is actually 4 for 9 with a double and a couple of walks. So I'm at a point where I don't really trust either pitcher here, man. The money is definitely coming in on Anaheim. So the strongest market read is basically on Anaheim, up from -118 to -126, 76% of the cash on Anaheim, but 60% of tickets on the Red Sox. So the public still wants the Red Sox here, but the money is all coming in on the other side on Anaheim. I wouldn't really disagree with that. I think Kikuchi should have the upper hand over Fitz. I mean, Fitz is much more of a wild card here. But I actually like the over in this game, but the money is coming in towards the under. It's down from 9 to 8.5, 79% of tickets on the over, but 71% of the cash on the under. I just don't really see how the under makes any sense in this game, where it looks like both starting pitchers might not match up well. You had an extra innings game yesterday, so more of the bullpen got unloaded yesterday. Anaheim's bullpen is really not good. So there are a lot of things that make me kind of lean to the over in this game. I'm not going to recommend it as a play, but yeah, I just don't really understand it. Speaking of totals, by the way, the total in that Pittsburgh-Milwaukee game is now down from 7 to 7 under with heavy juice. 72% of tickets on the under, but 71% of the cash on the over. So the cash percentage looks like it's against me in that one, but I don't really agree with it. And as far as the side in that one, big cash percentage on Pittsburgh with 91% of the cash, 58% of tickets, but the money line flipped a little bit from Milwaukee plus 100 to minus 106. I probably lean to Milwaukee in that game because Milwaukee has the better offense, which I think could be the difference maker here when you have 2 pitchers that could duel each other. So I think Misiorowski definitely has the talent to keep it close against Skeens, and if that happens and it gets to the bullpens, it comes down to the hitting, basically, because both bullpens are pretty bad. I think you want to be on the side that has the better bats, which is Milwaukee. So I would disagree with the cash percentage on that one as well, both on the side and the total. Washington is at San Diego. San Diego got the win yesterday after losing the first game of the series. They bounced back with a win yesterday. Close win. Winning 4-3 yesterday. San Diego used some of their best relievers yesterday, although San Diego does have the better bullpen in general. This is an interesting starting pitching matchup with Gore pitching for Washington. He used to be on San Diego. They traded him away years ago, but of course he's already faced San Diego since then, so this isn't going to be like one of those starts where it's his first time facing the team that got rid of him, where a lot of times the pitcher will get up for it. I think that time is long gone here. Gore is having a good season, though. 3.19 ERA, 1.19 whip. This month, 3.28 ERA, 22-6 strikeout walk ratio, pretty good. However, he did walk 4 guys in his last outing. He didn't have a great outing, but it was on the road against the Dodgers. So maybe you give him a pass for that because, of course, the Dodgers are one of the best offenses out there. So maybe that's just a little bit of a blip. Gore's been a little bit worse on the road, 4.01 ERA. But given that he pitched in San Diego a while back, and this is a pitcher-friendly park, he might do better in this park than he does otherwise. But his numbers against San Diego are actually not good in his career. 37 at-bats, 9-9 strikeout walk ratio, 297 average allowed, and 948 OPS. So San Diego has actually hit Gore pretty well, so that is a concern if you like Gore here. He's up against Nick Pivetta, 3.64 ERA, 1.08 whip this season. He's pitching well, but recent outings have not been very good for him. He has a 6.23 ERA in June, really only one good start, shockingly, at Arizona, which is a hitter-friendly ballpark against a good offense. That was his one good start, and he had bad starts, a really bad start in his last outing where he didn't even go 5 innings against Kansas City, and they're not a good offense. So that is a little bit of cause for alarm there, man. And he also had bad starts at San Francisco, which he still did go 6 innings in that one, though, had a 5-1 strikeout walk ratio. So that one wasn't as bad. He just got a little bit unlucky and giving up 5 runs there. But that's against a pretty bad San Francisco offense. And then he did pretty badly against the Dodgers, although the Dodgers, again, are a really good offense. But still, Pivetta, he's not in his best form right now, man. So I don't know if we trust Pivetta. Against Washington, he has okay numbers, 38 at-bats worth, 10-7 strikeout walk ratio is not very good, but a 263 average, 667 OPS. So Pivetta does have the better matchup numbers out of the two pitchers here, but he is the pitcher who's in the worst form right now. San Diego's up from minus 135 to minus 148. 74% of tickets, only 72% of the cash. So the cash percentage looks like it's opposing San Diego here as the public home favorite here, although the money line has moved up on them a little bit, and I see money coming in the under as well, down from 8.5 to 7.5 pretty much. So that's a pretty significant move there. 62% of tickets on the over, 96% of cash on the under. If you're playing the under here, I would probably not want to look full game because Washington's bullpen is so bad. But you're going to have to get under like 3 or 3.5 in the first 5 innings if you want the under in the first 5. I don't love that either. And with Gore having bad numbers against San Diego and Pivetta not in good form right now, I would definitely worry about an under. Even though on the surface it looks like a nice under matchup because it is two pretty good pitchers here. But I would not want to risk it on that game. Texas at Baltimore. Baltimore lost yesterday after winning the first game of the series. So I was actually wrong about both games. I gave out Texas as a play on the show in the first game, and I leaned Baltimore yesterday. I got both wrong. Baltimore absolutely has the worst of the two bullpens here. So Texas definitely has a bullpen advantage. And I think they do have a starting pitching edge, too, with Jacob deGrom on the mound, having a really good season, having a nice bounce back here from, I believe he was out with injury for a while, but he's pitching really well. 2.24 ERA, 0.92 whip. Having a good season, man. 1.8 ERA in 4 starts this month. Texas has won every one of those starts. 25-4 strikeout walk ratio. He's definitely in good form right now. Although, granted, that was against fairly weak offenses for the most part, especially Washington, White Sox, Pittsburgh. But still, you can only face who's in front of you, and he's pitching pretty well, man. DeGrom has only allowed more than 2 earned runs twice all season, and he hasn't allowed more than 4 in any start. Has a little bit of a worse ERA on the road, 2.88, but that's still quite good, obviously. Against the Orioles, 18 at bats. He has 9 strikeouts, no walks. Sanchez does have a home run off him, but that's the only extra base hit. 111 average against and 389 OPS. So DeGrom, in a short sample size, has done really well against Baltimore. Baltimore is sending Brandon Young to the mound. Very appropriate name because he is young. 26 years old. This is his first year that he's been in the majors. He made 2 starts, and it was a struggle for him, man. 6.23 ERA, 2.19 whip. So they sent him back to the minors, and now they're bringing him back up, which kind of makes sense because Baltimore's rotation sucks. So Young, I mean, he has a high ceiling at least. He's a talented young pitcher. It just hasn't shown yet in the majors. I mean, he's had real issues with the walks so far, with 8 walks so far and 9 strikeouts. Giving up 6 earned runs in 8 2/3 and 11 hits. So he's given up too many hits, too many walks. So it's been a struggle for him so far. He faced the Reds and Detroit on the road. Detroit on the road is not an easy task, though. So he is facing a weaker offense here in Texas. So he might actually pitch well. And of course, Texas has never seen him before. So Young getting another chance to pitch in the majors might actually be pumped for it and might actually have a decent start for once here. I do think DeGrom, I mean, just because he's the way more proven pitcher, he does have the edge here, though. So I lean to Texas and the under in this game. Texas up from minus 145 to minus 148 as a road favorite. 85% of tickets, 98% of the cash. They are public, but they are getting the money as well, it looks like to me. So I wouldn't disagree with the Texas side. The under is getting money as well, down from 9 to 8.5 on the total here. 70% of tickets and 98% of cash on the under. Although Young, just because he struggled so much in his other 2 starts, I don't really trust him enough to really go under here. In Baltimore, we know they have a bad bullpen as well. So Texas does have the bullpen edge, like I said, as well. So that all has to be taken into account. The A's are at Detroit. Detroit has already won the first 2 games here, scoring 20 runs in the first 2 games. Or no, they scored 20 runs in the last 2 games. So they have only played the A's once so far. My apologies. They're off the day prior to yesterday. My apologies. But they scored 11 runs in the series opener. And Skubal, as I talked about yesterday, he actually doesn't have good numbers against the A's. He didn't really do well in the game yesterday. He gave up 4 runs, so it was one of his worst starts. But Detroit had so much offense yesterday. Severino was terrible, so Detroit still won easily. Now, we have a weird pitching matchup here in this one where both starters are very difficult for me to figure out. Jacob Lopez pitching for the A's, 4.25 ERA, 1.44 whip. Bad numbers, but he's been way better at home, which makes no sense. 2.74 ERA at home in that terrible AAA stadium, which is a very hitter-friendly park, but that's not where he is today. He's on the road, and he has a 6.92 road ERA, so he's actually been terrible on the road. This month, he's actually been good, though, with a 2.66 ERA and a 32-7 strikeout walk ratio. He struck out 9 in 3 of the 4 starts, going 6 innings in each of his last 2, and his team has won his last 3 starts. So Lopez has not been that bad, which is kind of surprising, although these are against bad offenses. Baltimore, Kansas City, Houston, Minnesota as well, and he didn't do well against Minnesota. So those offenses, none of them are really that good. Houston is okay, I guess. He's facing Detroit, though. Detroit's pretty good at home. Their offense is okay. So we'll see what Lopez can do in this game. I mean, he does have really good strikeout stuff, though, which is why he's really hard for me to gauge. He's only given up 1 run across those last 3 starts. So he is actually surprisingly pitching well. Go figure. Detroit basically has no history against him. Torres has seen him once and is 0 for 1. But basically, Lopez is a complete unknown to Detroit as well. I just don't know that we want to put money on Lopez with the fact that he's so bad on the road. Jack Flaherty is pitching for Detroit, and he's not pitching well right now either. 4.83 ERA, 1.21 whip. Not great numbers there. He's been better at home, though, so he's at least pitching at home here. 3.74 ERA at home, 6.17 ERA on the road, so he's been way better at home. So he at least has the advantage with the splits here, whereas Lopez certainly does not. But Flaherty's been bad recently. He's given up 15 runs and 8 walks over his last 2 starts, going 4 2/3 and 2 1/3. So going only 7 innings total, giving up 11 hits. I mean, that's just awful. He's been horrific in his last 2 starts. and it was against Cincinnati, who's not the greatest offense, and then at Tampa, who's also not that great an offense. But that Tampa stadium's a little weird because it's a spring training stadium that's meant for more hitting, but still, Flaherty's been really bad. Pretty much this month he's been bad. 7.58 ERA this month, 21-12 strikeout walk ratio. Really, it's been the last 2 starts, though. But, excuse me, I'm still sick here as well. I think we have to say Flaherty is just not in good form right now at all. And his numbers are actually not great against the A's in 23 at-bats, 304 average, but he hasn't allowed any extra base hits, so he has held them to a 664 OPS, which is not bad. But overall, I just don't want anything to do with Flaherty here. Detroit's very public, 93% of tickets, 97% of the cash, but the money line has dropped from -185 to -174. So I think maybe you could take a shot maybe with the A's here, just because Lopez has actually been in better form than Flaherty has recently, so you could take a shot there. Money coming in on the under as well. 8.5 down to 8. 84% of tickets on the over. 79% of the cash on the under. I would not really want to risk that because Lopez has just been awful on the road and Flaherty's been awful in his last couple starts. So I don't love doing anything with the total in this game. I think it's just really hard to gauge this game. But I do think Detroit, given the recent form of these pitchers, I think Detroit is probably too heavy of a favorite here. I mean, they're favored like this because they're the team with the way better record. But then again, Detroit is really good at home. But they are coming off putting a smack down on the A's yesterday. So the A's might play a little bit better in this game. Very difficult to gauge. We will see. I mean, if you want to take a shot with like the A's run line or something like that, I wouldn't blame you really. But those are my thoughts on that game. There's not a whole lot else to say, although Detroit does have the better bullpen. So they do have a fairly significant edge there. Toronto at Cleveland. Max Scherzer is coming back for this game for Toronto. He's on Toronto now. He's been hurt. He only made 1 start this season for Toronto, which was against Baltimore. He went 3 innings, gave up 2 earned runs, both on home runs. Had 1 strikeout, no walks, 3 hits. I mean, it wasn't a horrible start, but, I mean, he was trying to come back from injury. He's kind of old. I mean, he is old. He's 40 years old. But he did pitch last year with Texas, and I know Texas has really good pitching coaches, and he had a really short season. He only made 9 starts, but he did pitch well last year. So the last couple of seasons that he's pitched, he's actually been good. Just his last full season was basically in 2023. So we'll see what he can do, but he hasn't really shown that he's like done yet. Even though I know his ERA is 6 right now, his WHIP is 1, but again, it's all that 1 start. And that start was shortened because he was injured, I think, and it wasn't really that terrible a start. He's up against Cleveland here, who really does not have that good of an offense here. So Scherzer might actually do fairly well in this game against Cleveland. I don't really want to bank on it because you don't know what you're going to get out of Scherzer. But he is obviously a veteran pitcher. He knows how to pitch well, and he has been doing so throughout his entire career. His numbers against Cleveland are actually ridiculous. In 81 at-bats, a 28-9 strikeout walk ratio. He's held him to an 0.86 average in 81 at-bats and a 3.01 average. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. An 0.86 average. And Santana has 7 of the 9 walks, by the way. But you almost never see a sample size that big against an entire lineup with an average that low. So if Scherzer is ready to pitch again, I haven't looked to see what his minor league rehab starts looked like. But if he is ready to pitch again, he has been dominant against Cleveland's hitters. And he's up against Gavin Williams, who has not been that good. 3.58 ERA is pretty good. 1.42 WHIP is not good. I don't know how he keeps getting away with putting men on base, man. I mean, that WHIP is so high. His ERA should definitely be worse than this. He's about the same home and away. It doesn't really matter. This month, again, more of the same. He has a 1.99 ERA this month, but an 18-10 strikeout walk ratio. So he's actually been pretty bad. I mean, that strikeout walk ratio is bad. Putting way too many men on base. And again, he's kind of just getting away with it. Not facing the strongest offenses here this month. Going all the way back into May, his team has still lost 4 of his last 6 starts. So his team has not been giving him run support either. So overall, I don't like Williams overall, man. I don't think he's that good. Against Toronto, his numbers aren't great. 22 at-bats, 273 average allowed, 885 OPS. So he hasn't been that good against Toronto. So I would lean to Toronto. in that game. It's just you're having to bank on Scherzer being good. The money has actually come in a little bit on Cleveland up from minus 110 to minus 117. 61% of tickets, 65% of the cash on them. Not sure I really agree with that. Like I said, and with Toronto, you're still getting the better bullpen as well. I think both bullpens saw some usage yesterday in that game, which was kind of a crazy game where Toronto was able to finally put it away in a high-scoring game. Luckily for me, because I gave out Toronto as a play on the show yesterday. So we will see. I mean, 3-1 day yesterday. It wasn't that bad, by the way. But yeah, I wish it was 4-0. But yeah, if Scherzer is able to do what he has done in the past, I would lean to his side of this. I think you're getting actually a reasonable price with Toronto. You'd think you'd be getting taxed for Max Scherzer being on the mound just because he has that name, like he's going to be a Hall of Famer. You'd think you'd be getting taxed, but you're actually getting them as an underdog. So that's probably the way I would lean there. Braves are at the Mets. The Mets are just continuing to struggle badly, as they've only won one game going all the way back to that Washington series before this Tampa series, which how long ago was this? I don't even know. I don't see the date that game happened, but they have won one game in their last 10 or 11 games. It has not been good for the Mets. Again, they lost yesterday. Mets actually used more of their bullpen yesterday as well. Even though they have the better of the two bullpens, the bullpen usage has been a little bit more on the Mets side. Not by a whole lot yesterday, but still the Mets bullpen has seen more usage than Atlanta so far. Atlanta has Didier Fuentes pitching. He's a rookie. He just made his first start of his career. He's only 20 years old. Fuentes, he throws in the high 90s, so he does have a hard fastball. He really only throws 3 pitches, fastball, slider, and splitter, I believe. So he doesn't have a really full arsenal, but his numbers are fairly good. He actually doesn't have a very good ERA in AAA. If you look at his AAA numbers, I think his ERA is in the 4s, but all of his other numbers look good in AAA. Like his whip is, I think, is 1 or maybe even below 1, and his strikeout walk ratio is actually pretty good too. So I don't know how his ERA is as high as it is in AAA. So he actually hasn't been that bad. His first career start was against Miami, who's not a very good offense. It wasn't a very impressive performance, but it wasn't terrible either. He went 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk, 6 hits, allowed 4 earned runs, including a home run. So, yeah, I mean, those numbers don't look good. 7.2 ERA, 1.4 whip, but I don't think that was that bad as your first start. And, of course, he is a guy that throws hard, and he's up against a Mets offense that has really been struggling recently, even though they have a good offense. The Mets, of course, have never seen Fuentes before, so he might have a little bit of an edge in that regard, because these young pitchers with good stuff, when they haven't been seen before, they tend to have a little bit of an edge. He's up against Clay Holmes, 3.04 ERA, 1.23 whip. He's having a pretty good season for the Mets. Home road split's not really that significant, pretty much similar, but he has not been in good form over his last 2 starts. He's had 8 walks to 8 strikeouts, and he's only got 9 2/3 innings combined across those 2 starts. Not the greatest, and he just faced Atlanta as well, so Atlanta has a ton of recent familiarity with Holmes because they just saw him, and that was the game where he walked 6 guys, so he did not do well against Atlanta. He didn't even go 5 innings in that game, and he was extremely inefficient pitch-wise, going over 100 pitches, which he actually rarely does. He only went 100 pitches one other time this season, and he did fine in the next start, but it was at home against Colorado, and Colorado sucks. Atlanta's certainly better than Colorado, so I don't love Holmes here, man, especially because Atlanta just saw him. I mean, sure, he might do a little better this time out, but it doesn't look good for Holmes here, in my opinion. His numbers against Atlanta are okay, though, in his career. Well, sort of. In 36 at-bats, he's held him to 222 average. 718 OPS isn't that bad either, but his strikeout walk ratio is actually really bad against him with 10 strikeouts and 14 walks. So against Atlanta, he also walks too many guys. So his walk rate is kind of a concern here, man. Although some of that includes his last start against Atlanta, but I would lean to Atlanta again in this game, man. You're getting a big underdog price on them this time. Atlanta was the favorite in the first 2 games of the series, but now they're a big underdog because, of course, the Mets are going to grab all the attention. Even though they've been bad recently, the Mets are still the public team because they have the better record overall, despite how bad they've been playing recently. They're up from -135 to -147. 84% of tickets, 89% of the cash. Money looks like it is coming in on the Mets, but they are quite public. And again, I think getting an underdog price like this with Fuentes on the mound, he is kind of a wild card, but I think it might be worth taking the shot on Atlanta. I'm not going to recommend it as a play, but that would be the way I would lean. JC, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. Yes. OMG, hi to everybody, man. Nate, thanks for sticking around, man. All right. I know I ramble a lot. I get super autistic. Yankees at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's won the first 2 games of the series. And again, unfortunately, the way that I gave out the play yesterday was like the only way I could have lost the game yesterday. Cincinnati won on the full game, and the under in the first 5 innings won as well. Did not win on the full game, though, on the under, I don't think. Because I think the total was lower than the 9 that it finished at. But the Yankees definitely struggling a bit offensively recently. Cincinnati taking the first 2 games here, but Yankees have the better bullpen still. They obviously have the better offense. Bullpen usage, a little bit of a concern for Cincinnati over the last 2 games. Both teams used a lot of their bullpen yesterday, though. But I still think the Yankees get the bullpen edge here. And the Yankees do have Max Fried pitching. He is their best pitcher. 2.05 ERA, .96 whip. Home road splits, not really significant either. He's been really good both ways. Pitching well this month as well. 2.42 ERA, 27-4 strikeout walk ratio. I mean, he's coming off one of his worst starts where he had 7 strikeouts, no walks, which is still really good, but gave up 3 runs against Baltimore. Still not even that bad. Yankees have lost his last 2 starts, though, against Boston and Baltimore, but it wasn't really his fault. He got no run support behind them. So Fried, still in good form, and he's been good against the Reds, although in a very small sample size of 12 at-bats, holding him to a 167 average and 397 OPS. But I expect Fried to continue to do well, even though this is a hitter-friendly ballpark. He's going up against Brady Singer, who actually has been better at home than on the road. He's got a 4.13 ERA, 1.3 whip on the season. That whip is definitely too high, but 3.62 ERA at home, so he has been better at home, surprisingly, because it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. Hey, he's from Leesburg, Florida, where we just were over the past weekend here. Well, we were sort of avoiding Leesburg, though. We were in that area, but the theater in Leesburg got canceled, Bohemian Grove, baby. So we went to another location. But anyway, yeah, interesting that Brady Singer is from Leesburg. Singer, 2.86 ERA in 4 starts in June, but an 18-10 strikeout walk ratio kind of tells a different story. He's been walking too many guys this month, but that was against Milwaukee, Arizona, Detroit, and he settled down, had a nice start against St. Louis in his most recent start with only 1 walk in that one and 7 strikeouts, 1 run allowed. He's been pretty consistent going back to mid-May, hasn't allowed more than 300 runs in any start over his last 7, so that's at least a decent sign. So he is pitching okay, but against the Yankees, 51 at-bats. He hasn't done that well against them. A 333 average and 975 OPS from the Yankees hitters against them. Against him, Judge is 5 for 13 off him with 3 walks. Bellinger, 2 for 4 with 2 home runs. So it's not very good for Brady Singer there. Probably would have to lean to the Yankees there. I mean, I think they have the starting pitching edge there, but Yankees are just a huge favorite. I mean, I just don't think you can lay a price like this with the Yankees. I mean, you're paying a tax because it's the Yankees, because it's Max Fried. You know you're not really getting any value by doing that. They're up from -195 to -203. 89% of tickets, 94% of the cash coming in on them. I think the way that I would probably play this is Yankees team total over the total, because they do pretty well against Singer, and it should be a bounce-back spot for the Yankees, in my opinion. I think a spot where maybe their offense can finally break out for once. So that's probably the way that I would lean, would probably be to the Yankees over their team total. Whatever the team total is, I don't know what it is, so you're probably having to go over about 5.5, though, on that, but that might be worth a look. Yeah, Gaysburg is right, or we've called it Sleazeburg on the now defunct Tower Gang show. Seattle at Minnesota. What are my other 2 plays, by the way? I have 3 more plays, and I haven't gotten to any of them yet. I have 3 plays in the last 5 games on the board here. Seattle at Minnesota here. Minnesota lost again yesterday. They've lost 5 games in a row, including 2 to Seattle. I gave out Seattle as a strong lean yesterday in the game, and they did get the win, although it was close. This pitching matchup on the surface looks pretty good with George Kirby pitching for Seattle. I know his numbers are not good this year. 6.16 ERA, 1.4 whip. He's been dealing with injuries this year, but I think he's kind of back in form here. His splits aren't very significant, but this month he has a 25-5 strikeout walk ratio, and Seattle won his last 3 starts, including one against the Cubs, where he didn't pitch that well. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 earned runs, but he gave up 2 home runs in that start, still had a 3-1 strikeout walk ratio, so I don't think it was really the worst start. And 2 starts before that, he racked up 14 strikeouts with no walks, so that does tell you he's starting to come back into form and pitch better. Even though his ERA this month, not that great with a 4.09 in those 4 starts. But again, his team has won his last 3 starts. He is starting to pitch better. Against Minnesota, his numbers aren't good, though. In 48 at-bats, 14-1 strikeout walk ratio is good, but he's allowed a 292 average and 973 OPS. 4 different batters have homered off of him. So it hasn't been that good for Kirby against a Minnesota offense that really isn't that impressive. So I would worry about Kirby a little bit for that reason. He's going up against Joe Ryan, who's having a good season, 3.06 ERA, 0.91 whip. Definitely a good pitcher here, man. His splits are pretty insignificant as well, home and away. He's been a little bit worse this month, though, with a 4.43 ERA in 4 starts this month, 24-11 strikeout walk ratios. He's been walking too many guys, although he still hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start this month, and he's only allowed more than that once all season. So he is still holding opposing offenses in check for the most part. His team did lose his last 2 starts, though. So what do we want? What do we expect to get out of Joe Ryan here? I don't really know, man. His numbers are bad against Seattle in 45 at-bats. He's allowed a 400 batting average and 1,171 OPS. So it looks like neither pitcher really matches up particularly well. So this could be kind of a sneaky over play to look for here. And I believe the bullpens are kind of not in great shape either. After yesterday, if I remember correctly. We saw some bullpen usage yesterday. 4 relief pitchers came in for each team. Minnesota's bullpen has also really been struggling recently, so this could be a sneaky overplay. Whereas on the surface, it looks like you definitely would want to go under in this game, but I don't really think so. The money is all coming in on the under. Down from 8.5 to 7, 74% of tickets on the over, 51% of the cash on the under. But given how bad it looks like these pitchers match up against the opposing offenses, again, I think it could be a sneaky underplay, and Ryan is not in great form right now. So, again, it could be a sneaky overplay, over. And it looks like the money is coming in at Minnesota. They're up from minus 125 to minus 126, 76% of cash on them. 53% of tickets on Seattle. The public coming in on Seattle with how bad Minnesota has been recently. But Minnesota, I mean, if you just look at this on the surface, I do think Joe Ryan is probably the more trustworthy of the 2 pitchers. But like I just showed you, his matchup numbers don't look that good, and he wasn't that good in his last couple of starts. So I wouldn't really want to do it. But the market read is pretty strong on the Minnesota side in that game. Tampa at Kansas City. I'm going to go under the total in this one. I see under 9s out there at about minus 115. The money looks like it is coming in on the under, although the total went up a little bit from 8.5 to 9. But I see 88% of tickets, 94% of the cash on the under. The under looks like it might be a little bit public, but like what recreational bettor is going to go, oh, Tampa, Kansas City, I want to bet this game. I don't want to bet an under. It doesn't seem like it would be that popular of a play on a full baseball board like this. But I like how this sets up, man. Both bullpens are pretty good. Yeah, Kansas City's lost their last 3 games, so we're not looking at a side here. Both bullpens didn't really get very much taxed yesterday. And again, the teams were off the day before that, so the bullpens are fairly well rested coming into this game. So I like that. So you have 2 decent bullpens, and their rest situation is fairly good. And the starting pitching looks good to me, man, with Rasmussen pitching for Tampa, having a good season, 2.61 ERA, 0.97 whip. He's been a little bit worse on the road, but still 3.86 ERA is not that bad. He's only allowed more than 3 earned runs twice all season, and he hasn't allowed more than 4 earned runs in any start all season. So he's been very consistent. He did just lose last time out against Baltimore and walked 3 guys, so he didn't have his best start there, but his team had won 5 or 6 starts in a row prior to that. So I don't know if all of a sudden he's just out of form. I wouldn't really say that. He still went more than 5 innings. He allowed 2 earned runs. It wasn't that bad. 3.38 ERA in 4 starts this month with a 19-5 strikeout walk ratio. So he is still pitching pretty well, in my opinion, overall. Struggled a little bit in the prior start, but it was against the Mets, who do have the ability to hit, against Kansas City, who doesn't really have that much ability to hit. 36 at-bats worth. They have a 222 average and 624 OPS off Rasmussen. So Rasmussen has done pretty well against this Kansas City offense. And we're looking at 2 offenses that really aren't that potent either. Mlb Wnba is getting the start for Kansas City. He's having a good season again, 3.24 ERA, 1.19 whip. He's been a pretty consistent pitcher over the course of his career, and he is better at home, 2.58 home ERA. So he does have the split advantage here, and he's coming off a start where he gave up 1 run against Texas. Struggled a little bit in the prior couple of starts, but even so, 15-5 strikeout walk ratio this month isn't that bad. Struggled in 1 start against the A's, but maybe that's a little bit of an outlier because he bounced back nicely with that good 6-inning, 1-run, 2-hit performance against Texas, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. 4.67 ERA in 3 starts this month doesn't look that good, but again, I think he might be coming back into form with that last start looking pretty good. And he had a good month of May prior to that with his team winning 4 of his 6 starts. He's only allowed more than 4 earned runs once all season. It was that start against the A's, which is looking like a bit of an outlier. And up against Tampa, Wnba does have good numbers in 37 at-bats, 12-5 strikeout walk ratio. Not that bad. It's a lot of strikeouts, even though Walker's not really a strikeout guy. 162 average allowed to them and 586 OPS. So both starting pitchers have good matchup numbers here. So I'm going to go under in that game, Tampa, Kansas City. Looks like kind of a staple like type of underplay for me. We have 2 pretty good bullpens, 2 kind of weak offenses, and a decent starting pitching matchup. I like going under in games like that. Oddsmakers put the total out pretty high, though, which is a little bit worrisome, but I don't understand why the total is as high as it is there. Yeah, Waka Flocka, that's right. Zach coming in right when I talk about his Kansas City Royals again. Sorry, man, about the Royals losing a bunch of games recently. I did mention I did not love the Royals yesterday either, and they did not win. Taj Bradley actually had a good start against them for once. Chicago Cubs at St. Louis. This is another game I'm going to give it a play on the Cubs run line. I gave out St. Louis yesterday. They got the win, but I think this is a spot where the Cubs get the win and they bounce back here as the better team. You're getting about the same price on the Cubs that you were getting in some of the other games of the series, so you're not having to pay too much for it. Yeah, you guys suck. That does suck. Dude, the Royals have good pitching, though, man. It's just their hitting can't come around. I mean, they could potentially make the playoffs, but their hitting is bad. So St. Louis has won the first 2 games of the series. This is a 4-game series. Cubs, I think, are going to be a little bit angry at this point, man, and want to bounce back. And first of all, I do think the Cubs have the better bullpen out of the 2, and the Cubs' bullpen is more rested. They used a couple of pitchers for only 6 pitches yesterday. So St. Louis, they used their highest leverage relievers yesterday to finish the game off. They had to use their closer, Helsley. They used a couple of their better pitchers in a close game to finish it off. So St. Louis's bullpen is at a disadvantage in this game for all those reasons. And I think we're getting, obviously, Chicago Cubs have the better offense, but I think we're also getting the starting pitching edge here with Matthew Boyd pitching for the Cubs. He's a guy that's kind of just flying under the radar, man, and he's pitching pretty well. 1.14 whip, 2.84 ERA, not bad. He's been a little bit worse on the road, 3.22 ERA, but I'm not that worried about that because that's still pretty good. This month in 4 starts, 2.22 ERA, 15-6 strikeout walk ratio, not that bad, and well below 1 hit allowed per inning. Just somehow his offense has not really supported him, and his team has lost 3 of his last 4 starts, but I don't think it was really his fault because he has not allowed more than 2 earned runs in any start going all the way back to a start at Great American Ballpark on May 23rd, in which he gave up 4 runs, and that was the worst he's done all season. Aside from that start, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every single start, so he's been pretty consistent. He's pretty good, and against St. Louis, they have 22 at-bats against him. They only have a 136 batting average and 558 OPS, so Boyd has done pretty well against St. Louis as well. And again, his strikeout walk ratio is decent this month as well. And he's up against Eric Fedde, who I think is the lesser of the two pitchers. He's got a 3.54 ERA, which looks good, but a 1.3 whip is not that good. He is putting too many guys on base, and he's been somewhat worse at home with a 4.36 home ERA. So his splits don't look that good. He's actually fairly significantly better on the road this season. His 2.49 ERA this month looks good, but he has a 16-10 strikeout walk ratio in 4 starts this month, so that is not good. 10 walks in 21 2/3 innings. That's not going to get the job done, man. So again, he's putting too many guys on base, and he's just been kind of getting away with it. So yeah, you could say, well, he's only allowed more than 4 earned runs twice all season. Yeah, that's true, but I think at some point, man, it's going to unravel a little bit. You cannot put this many men on base, especially against a powerful offense like the Cubs, and get away with it. So I don't think it's going to continue to be that good for him. He somehow got away with not allowing any runs against the Dodgers when he pitched against them a few starts ago, but he did walk 4 guys in that one, so he kind of got lucky. And Milwaukee, who has a good offense, was able to hit him decently, getting to him for 3 runs and only 5 1/3. Fedde has gone 5 1/3 or fewer in how many starts in what is that? 5 of his last 6 starts. Excuse me, my mind's slipping here. And up against the Cubs, his numbers are not that good. In 77 at-bats, 18-2 strikeout walk ratio is good, but a 286 average allowed and 732 OPS is getting into a little bit high territory. So I like the Cubs in this game. I think the better team finally gets a win here after I thought there was some value on St. Louis in a couple of those games. Again, I think St. Louis has been overperforming this season, though, so I expect them to not do as well. Like, at some point, they're going to regress a bit. And maybe some of that regression happens here. Cubs are up from -125 to -142. So it looks like even though they're the public side, 74% of tickets, 89% of the cash. So the money is coming in on the Cubs side as well. Nate, are you a Cardinals fan? I forget. I have no bias in this, man, other than the fact that I just try to break down the game and try to go with the side that I think is correct here. So that's what I'm going with here. Again, I think the money is kind of agreeing with me on that, with the money line and the cash, looking like they're on the same side as the public in that game. So that is a play. And then the last play I'm going to give out is on Houston, +134. You can get Houston a decent price. If you want to go do a split bet and put half on a +1.5 run line and half on a on the money line, you could do that too. But I think just like in hockey with some of these money line plays, I think it might just be worth it to just take a shot on the money line, with the money line being not really that high. So you know what I mean? Like, just with the road favorite here not being that high a favorite. But I think that Philadelphia is being a little bit overvalued here. I think you're getting some value on Houston here. Houston, first of all, they have a way better bullpen, and they're not really that used up right now. So that's one thing that you get with Houston. Yes, Philadelphia has the better offense, but I think you're getting the better pitching on the Houston side here, in my opinion. And I think the starting pitching is at least kind of a wash here, which is why I think it is worth taking a shot on the Houston side here and fading the public here, getting a home underdog price, getting a decent price on this. I think it is worth it. I don't think they should be this. Philadelphia should not be this heavy of a favorite here, in my opinion. And yes, Philadelphia did lose yesterday 1-0. So that is something going on. And yes, I know Houston did use their closer, Hader, yesterday, but they only used 2 relief pitchers, and their bullpen is good. So I'm not that worried about their bullpen. Yeah, I know Philadelphia hardly used any of their bullpen either, but Philadelphia's bullpen is the worst of the 2 bullpens. Zach Wheeler is pitching for Philly, and I know he's good. He's their ace. 2.61 ERA, .91 whip. Yeah, he's good. He's been slightly worse on the road, although his splits aren't that significant. This month, he's doing really well. I know his team has won, 7 of his last 8 starts. Yeah, I understand that. They've won his last 3 all this month. 24-4 strikeout walk ratio. 1.06 whip. I get all that. He's pitching well. He's Zach Wheeler. We know all that. I just think he's going to have some outings that aren't as great at some points. He did walk 3 guys in his last outing, so his command maybe a little bit iffy, and only went 5 innings against a Mets team. A Mets team that can hit a little bit. Up against the Astros, his numbers are actually pretty mediocre. In 74 at-bats, 270 average, 713 OPS. So Wheeler, as far as the matchup is concerned, I don't think this is his best matchup. And he's going up against Colton Gordon, which people are going to look at this. The public is going to look at this and say, wait a minute. We get Philadelphia, who has a really good record. We have Wheeler, who everybody knows how good Wheeler is, up against an unknown pitcher. Everybody's going to want to take Philadelphia, right? But again, I think there are reasons to not do that. Philadelphia, by the way, is only 21-18 on the road, so they're worse on the road. Houston, really good at home, 28-13 at home. So Houston does have good home numbers. Colton Gordon is actually better than people think he is. He has a not very good-looking ERA or WHIP, 4.54 ERA, 1.37 WHIP. But if you look at his numbers this season, 34-5 strikeout walk ratio, that tells a completely different story. He's given up too many hits, man. He's given up more than one hit per inning. So that's the concern here. But other than that, he has not been that bad. He's only allowed more than 3 earned runs once all season. Houston has actually won 5 of his 7 starts. He's got at least 5 innings in every start except his first start, which you tend, with your Major League debut, you tend to get a little bit shaky at times, right? So we're talking about a guy that is in his rookie season, and he is actually pitching better than his numbers suggest. This month in 3 starts, he's allowed no more than 2 earned runs in any of the starts, 14-2 strikeout walk ratio, 2.81 ERA. So he just needs to stop being this hittable, man. He's allowed 8 home runs. He's allowed too many hits, too much hard contact, and that's the reason why his numbers are not that good. So I like Gordon here, man. And Philadelphia's never seen him before, so I would take Philadelphia here. Looking at the numbers here, 81% of tickets, 91% of the cash on Philly, but I think they're just public, and you're fading the public here, man. So that's what I like in that one. Hold on one second, man. I got to get more water here. I will pause the show for a minute here. I will be back in a second. Ooh, all right. I'm back. Hopefully people can still hear me here. You're a Cardinals fan, Nate? Yeah, that's unfortunate, to be honest, because I think they're going to go downhill a little bit here. Finishing this off, I don't have any more plays here, but we have Dodgers and Colorado here. Dodgers won yesterday in a very high-scoring game. You're going to get a lot of high-scoring games at Coors Field, man. We got Yamamoto on the mound for the Dodgers here. 2.76 ERA in the season, 1.09 WHIP. Obviously, he's having a good season. He's one of their best starters. He's actually been better on the road, too, with a 1.76 road ERA. He's been a little bit worse this month, though, with a 20-10 strikeout walk ratio, 5.23 ERA. Mostly he had 2 bad starts, actually, against the Yankees in San Francisco. And the Dodgers, surprisingly, have actually lost his last 4 starts. Will he come back into form here? Maybe. It's not an easy place to pitch, Coors Field, but Colorado's only 2 for 20 off him lifetime, a 100 average, 332 OPS. So I'm not really expecting Yamamoto to be bad here. I mean, it doesn't make sense to really expect him to be bad very often. He's up against Chase Dollander, who is struggling in his rookie season with a 6.19 ERA, 1.48 whip, and he's really struggled at home. 9.58 ERA at home. That's really not good. He's really struggled to adjust to Coors Field, it looks like. He's just been pretty ugly all season for the most part. Dodgers have never faced him before, but that really has not been an advantage for Dollander so much in his rookie season. The fact that these offenses haven't seen him before still has not been good for him. This total is way high. I'm pretty sure it's probably about 11. Yeah, it's up from 10.5 to 11. So odds makers telling you they're expecting a high-scoring game. I don't know if I would go that far because I would not really want to fade Yamamoto necessarily. So I might go Dodgers team total over if I was going to play this game, but you're going to have to ask them to score like 6 runs in this game to get over that total. Of course, you can't lay minus 310. They're a huge road favorite here. I mean, obviously the Dodgers are the way better team. Offense, bullpen, starting pitcher, they have every advantage here, but you can't lay a price like that with the Dodgers. 85% tickets, 93% of the cash on them. They're up from minus 290, but Dodgers team total, probably the way to go there. And then Miami, San Francisco to close this off. This is an interesting game, actually. San Francisco lost yesterday with Verlander on the mound. Unfortunately, Verlander, he did okay yesterday, but this is probably going to be his last season, man. San Francisco does have the way better bullpen over Miami. They both saw some usage yesterday. But obviously, we know San Francisco has the better bullpen. Neither team is really a good offensive team, though, which is going to kind of lead into what I think about this game. And I like both starting pitchers here. Edward Cabrera, pitching for Miami, 3.81 ERA. His whip is too high, 1.39. But he is pitching better as of late. His home road splits aren't really significant. He has a 2.7 ERA this month, although he is walking too many guys in 3 starts here. 15-7 strikeout walk ratio. So he's got to get his wildness in check here. Also, he did fail to make it 5 innings in 2 of those 3 starts, but overall, I don't think he's that bad. He did go 6 1/3 last time on only allowing 1 run against a pretty good Philadelphia offense. So Cabrera, not exactly in the worst form here, and his team had actually won 4 straight starts of his, so they've actually won 5 of his last 7 starts for him. So he's certainly not the worst pitcher on Miami. He has pretty good strikeout stuff. It's just his problem is that he gets wild at times. Up against San Francisco, he does have good numbers in 41 at-bats, a 195 average, although a slightly high, well, not slightly high, but higher than you would expect, 605 OPS based on how low that average is. OPS is still low, but that's because he's walked 7 of them compared to 9 strikeouts, but Adames has 4 of those walks, so it's mostly been him. Maybe Cabrera's pitched around him a bit. Either way, I think Cabrera does match up pretty well against the Giants. Mlb Wnba is pitching for the Giants, and he is their ace. 2.49 ERA, 1.12 whip. Really good numbers on the season. 1.35 ERA at home. He's been really good at home. He's pitching really well this month with a 1.61 ERA in 4 starts, not allowing more than 2 earned runs in any of them, and having 30 strikeouts to 3 walks. Way fewer than 1 hit per inning, and his team's won his last 3 outings. Yeah, Mlb Wnba is obviously in very good form right now. His numbers aren't good against the Marlins, surprisingly. In 25 at-bats, 320 average allowed, and 840 OPS, and he has no strikeouts against them and no walks. So kind of weird numbers there, but it's mostly Sanchez doing the damage there, 4 for 10 with a couple of doubles. So I would say, I don't know if there's that much to take away from that. So I think probably the under is the way to look in this game. I think both starting pitchers are pretty good here. Problem is, you're looking at a pretty low total. It's down from 7 to 7, juice to the under. Obviously, I would say you got to get it under 7. I will almost never go under 6.5 just because I don't want to give up that key number. So under 7 up to like maybe minus 120 would probably be the way I would look in this game. I do like both starting pitchers. Both offenses not that good. San Francisco's bullpen is good. So you have most things lining up for an under here. 71% of tickets, 89% of the cash on the under. So the real money looks like it is coming in on the under. The only issues are Cabrera's a little bit wild. Webb actually has not great matchup numbers against Miami, and Miami's bullpen is a concern. So those are the issues that we have in that game as far as the under. And I really don't like going under like 3 in the first 5 innings either, so, or 3.5 even. So I, again, do with all of that information what you want to. That's going to do it for me today, man, on Paul Skeens Day, baby. This is my Skeens jersey. I gave out a play on that one in 3 other plays. I have under in Pirates Brewers, full game. All of these are full game plays. Under in the Rays and Royals, Chicago Cubs money line, and Houston Astros money line. Those are the 4 plays today. Let's get it. Let's have a good day today. Learn to Toad on Twitter is where I'm at. GiveSendGo.com/TowerGangToad is still out there if you want to support the fundraiser to try to help me with my cancellation, which not much really going on with the fundraiser anymore. I'm probably going to just take it down pretty shortly. I know I keep saying that, but I should just do it. Patreon.com/TowerGang if you want to support the Tower Gang podcast, which is defunct or at least on hiatus for now. I don't know what's going to happen with that show, but if you do subscribe to the Patreon, you still can go look at all the backlogged bonus content that we have there. Excuse me. So that's going to do it. Hopefully I get healthier here, man. Let's have another good day today with these plays. That's going to do it. Peace out. Thanks for hanging out, guys.